I, 32M, don't know why I'm writing this. Maybe because I can't sleep anymore. Maybe because it's been almost 3 years, and I still think about her every single day. I've told myself 1,000 times that writing this won't change anything. She's gone. I ruined it. But maybe if I write it all down, someone out there will think twice before doing what I did. Her name was Emily, 29F. We met 5 years ago at a rooftop birthday party in Brooklyn. The kind where the music's too loud, the drinks are too warm, and half the people there are pretending to enjoy themselves. I wasn't supposed to be there. I was tagging along with a coworker, already planning to leave early. And then I saw her. She was standing by the railing, talking to a group of friends, laughing about something, that kind of laugh that makes other people want to join in even if they didn't hear the joke. She was wearing this simple blue dress, nothing fancy, but there was something about her. She looked like she belonged, not to the party, but to the moment. I don't even remember what I said when I introduced myself. Something lame, probably. But she smiled. And somehow, we ended up talking the rest of the night. About music, traveling, our jobs, how New York feels both too big and too small at the same time. I remember she said, "The city's lonely, but it's the kind of lonely that makes you hope." That line stuck with me. When the night ended, I asked for her number. She looked at me for a second, like she was deciding something, then typed it into my phone and said, "Don't text me at 2 a.m. Be better than that." I laughed, promised I would, and actually waited until the next afternoon. We started talking, then texting, then spending every weekend together. She worked as an art curator. I was in marketing. 2 completely different worlds, but somehow we fit. She'd drag me to art galleries and make me guess what the paintings really meant. I'd take her to late-night baseball games and try to explain why everyone hated the Yankees. She grounded me. I made her laugh. Within months, we were inseparable. We moved in together a year later. A small apartment in Williamsburg. Old, creaky floors, but it had this massive window that looked out onto the skyline. Every night, we'd sit there, sharing a bottle of wine, talking about everything and nothing. I thought I'd found it, the thing everyone looks for. Real love. The kind that feels calm. The kind that makes you want to be better. I remember one morning, she came up behind me while I was making coffee, wrapped her arms around my waist, and whispered, "I hope you know I'm happy." And I was. God, I was so happy. If someone had told me then that I'd be the one to destroy it, I would have laughed in their face. But here's the truth. You never plan to ruin your life. You just take one careless step at a time until you look around and realize you're standing in the wreckage. It's strange how love doesn't disappear all at once. It fades, like the slow dimming of city lights when dawn starts creeping in. You don't notice the darkness leaving. You just wake up one day, and everything feels different. For us, it started small. Little arguments. Misunderstandings. Moments where I wanted space, and she wanted connection. Moments where she needed comfort, and I gave her logic. She started working longer hours at the gallery. I started staying late at the office too, sometimes for work, sometimes just because I didn't want to come home feeling like a disappointment. We stopped having breakfast together. Then dinners. Then conversations. We were still us, technically, but the version of us that existed in the beginning was gone. One night, she came home late. She looked exhausted. Her makeup was smudged, her shoulders tense. I asked, "Rough day?" She nodded, tried to smile, and said, "I just wish you'd ask me that before I look like this." And that broke something inside me. Because she was right. I'd been distant, cold, prideful. I told myself it was stress, but really, it was fear. Fear of facing how much I was failing her. That's when I met her. Someone from work, Sarah, 27F, new to the marketing team. She was funny, confident, the kind of person who made everyone around her feel interesting. We'd grab coffee together, laugh about clients, complain about deadlines. At first, it was nothing. Just casual friendship. But casual can turn dangerous when you start filling emotional gaps with the wrong person. Sarah would listen when I vented. She'd laugh at jokes Emily didn't find funny anymore. She'd ask about my life, and actually seem curious. And in my mind, I twisted it into something harmless. I'm just talking. It's fine. But deep down, I knew what I was doing. The night it happened, I told myself a dozen lies. We were at a bar with coworkers, celebrating the end of a campaign. Too many drinks. Too much laughter. She touched my hand. I didn't pull away. I remember the Uber ride to her place in flashes, streetlights, perfume, guilt clawing at my throat. And then, I crossed a line I can never uncross. It didn't mean anything. That's what I told myself when I left her apartment before sunrise. It didn't mean anything. But it did. Because when I got home and saw Emily asleep on the couch, wrapped in the blanket I'd bought her for her birthday, I felt like I'd just killed something sacred. For weeks, I tried to pretend it hadn't happened. I smiled, cooked dinner, kissed her goodnight. I convinced myself I could bury it, that as long as she didn't know, it wouldn't hurt her. But guilt is a living thing. It eats. It spreads. She noticed. Of course she did. She started asking, "Are you okay?" I'd say yes. She'd look at me, searching my face for truth, and I'd look away. One night, we were sitting in the living room. She was scrolling through her phone, and I was staring at mine, pretending to read emails. Out of nowhere, she said, "I don't even know you anymore." I looked up, and she was crying, quietly, without drama, the way people cry when they've been hurting for too long. I wanted to tell her everything, to beg her to forgive me, to promise I'd fix it. But I didn't, because I was a coward. She found out 2 weeks later. I'd left my phone on the counter. Sarah had texted me something stupid, a heart emoji, I think. Emily saw it. I still remember the silence that followed. She didn't scream. She didn't throw anything. She just looked at me and said, "How long?" And when I didn't answer right away, she laughed, this small, broken sound, and whispered, "That long, huh?" I tried to explain. Tried to tell her it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything. But she just shook her head. "You were supposed to be my safe place." Those words shattered me. That night, she packed a bag. I begged her not to go. She said, "I can't even look at you right now." And then she left. No yelling. No closure. Just the sound of the door closing, and the quiet that followed. I sat on the floor of our apartment until the sun came up, holding my phone, waiting for a message that never came. She didn't block me. She just disappeared. It's been 4 years since she left. 4 winters. For birthdays I pretended didn't matter. New York doesn't slow down for heartbreak. The city moves on, even when you can't. You walk the same streets, but the lights feel colder. You pass the same cafes, but the coffee tastes different. Because it's not about the place. It's about the person who made it feel like home. For a long time, I thought the guilt would fade. That one day, I'd wake up and it wouldn't hurt anymore. That I'd stop replaying that night in my head. But regret isn't a wound that heals. It's a scar that keeps bleeding when you least expect it. I dated other people. I even tried being serious once. But every time someone smiled at me, I'd think of her. Every time I heard her name, even if it wasn't her, something inside me would tighten. I saw her once, by accident. It was last spring, outside a bookstore in Brooklyn. She was standing there, holding a paper cup of coffee, laughing with a friend. She looked peaceful. Older, maybe. Softer. And for a moment, I almost walked up to her. Almost said her name. Almost apologized again. But I didn't. Because I saw something in her eyes that I hadn't seen in years. Lightness. And I realized that for her to get there, she had to let go of me. People always ask why people cheat. They think it's about desire, or boredom, or temptation. But it's not. At least, not for me. It was about fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being seen too clearly by someone who actually cared. She loved me in a way that terrified me. And instead of rising to meet that love, I ran from it. Straight into the arms of someone who made me feel like I didn't have to try. But love isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to challenge you, change you. And I failed that test. There's this moment, right after you lose someone, where you think you can fix it. You write a text. You draft an email. You scroll through old photos, trying to find the right one to attach. And then you stop. Because you realize that, "I'm sorry," doesn't rebuild trust. It doesn't erase the nights they cried themselves to sleep wondering what they did wrong. It doesn't make you the person they thought you were. It just reminds you of everything you destroyed. I still live in the same city. Different apartment. Same skyline. Some nights, when it's quiet, I still catch myself imagining what our life could have been. Maybe we'd be married now. Maybe we'd have a dog. Maybe she'd still smile at me the way she used to. But those maybes don't mean anything. They're ghosts, and I built the house they haunt. I think about sending her a message sometimes. Something simple. "Hey, I hope you're doing okay." But then I remember how she looked that night when she said, "You were supposed to be my safe place." And I realize, if I reach out now, it wouldn't be for her. It would be for me. To ease my guilt. To feel like I still matter. And she deserves better than that. So I keep my silence. Not out of pride, but respect. Because she moved on, and I don't deserve to pull her back into the pain I caused. But I still carry her with me, in songs, in smells, in little moments that sneak up when I least expect them. When it rains. When I see a couple laughing at a crosswalk. When I hear her favorite song playing somewhere in the background. Sometimes, I walk by that old bookstore in Brooklyn. I never see her, but I always look. I don't know why. Maybe part of me just wants to make sure she's still okay. Because if she's happy, then maybe that's the only redemption I'll ever get. TLDR. I cheated on the love of my life. She left. And no matter how many years pass, I still wake up some mornings wishing I could undo everything. If you're reading this, and you're in love with someone who believes in you, don't make my mistake. Don't trade real love for a temporary escape. Because one day, you'll wake up and realize that the hardest part of losing them is knowing it was all your fault.